city, living the life. You got it all together. Hold the pose, turn your nose, some fancy strutting. It's a fact you're from across the track. You said you wasn't, and I said everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. I know it. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. Ooh. All because of where you at. People sign to go way back. Come on now. It's the life that suits you best. All you want is sweet success. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. I know it. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. Ooh. The body nice and thin. Like to see I'm chasing it. You keep it cool with attitude. Never have to work too hard. Face is your credit card. Life, high society. High society, yeah. Ooh. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. I know it. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. Come on and sing it. I said everybody wants to be. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Everybody wants to be bougie, bougie. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, good afternoon or evening or whenever it is that you happen to be possibly watching this. And although it's actually supposed to be all completely live, so we're pretending that we're doing it at the time when we're actually performing this. So this is a little thing called Funksploitation. It's my sort of tribute to a lot of wonderful tracks, most of them from the 1970s, sort of dredged up from various films, many of whom have sort of long sort of disappeared in people's memory, apart from the actual music itself. And that little tune was called Bougie Bougie, and I included it for no particular reason whatsoever, because it actually failed to make it onto any film soundtracks, but nearly did. And that was my excuse for putting it in the set, because I happen to like it. It was originally recorded by Gladys Knight and the Pips, and it nearly made it onto Trading Places, and it nearly made it onto Brewster's Millions, and for some reason they decided not to go with it, which is a great shame, because it's a particularly brilliant record and should be more famous. Hence I put it in this set. So our next little adventure is a song called Across 110th Street. And this is probably, I think, one of the nicest tracks, one of the nicest movies in terms of the scan of stuff that we're doing today. It's kind of a very dark picture. It's got a guy called, I'm just checking because I can't read my notes here, a guy called Paul Benjamin, who played Jim Harris, who's the main character. And it also stars the incredible Yaphet Kotto, and Anthony Quinn, which is an interesting pairing. And it's very much a kind of miserable movie about failure, and every character in it is essentially somebody who's failed. And it's quite a dark sort of thriller, quite graphic in terms of its violence, but not actually, I would say, gratuitous, which is unusual for the 70s. And across 110th Street, it's almost like, you know, a sort of very dark version of Alice in Wonderland. That's how I like to look at this song. So, and obviously it's particularly relevant that someone brought up in the mean streets of Barnet should sing a song like that, because I'm clearly acquainted with all the kind of problems that were being reflected in inner city Harlem at that particular juncture of history. However, I'm going to give it my best go to try and bash through it, so that's the one we're doing now.
I'm not saying everything I do was right. Trying to break out of the ghetto is a day-to-day fight. Be that the law never crossed my mind, but I knew there's a better kind of life I was trying to find. You don't know what you do, you're under pressure. Across 110th Street's a hell of a test. I said, across 110th Street, all pimps trying to catch a young girl that's sweet. Across 110th Street, butchers won't let the junkie go free, yeah. Across 110th Street, oh, there's a lady trying to catch a trick on the street. Across 110th Street, you can find it all on the street, Let me tell you, hey brother, there's a better way out. Starting that cold, doing that junk, you know you're copping out. Take my advice, you better live or you die. You know you gotta be strong to survive. Oh, the family living across town would catch hell if there wasn't a ghetto around. In every story, there's the same story going down. Harlem is the capital of every ghetto town. I said, across 110th Street, all pimps won't let the young girls go free. Across 110th Street, and the bushes are trying to get the pressure on the street. I said, across 110th Street, oh, there's a lady trying to catch a trick on the street. Across 110th Street, you can find it all on the street. Oh, yeah.
There you go. Nice little dystopian version of Sesame Street there. So that was called Across 110th Street, as I said. It's actually a much faster version that appears on the film soundtrack, but the one that kind of got made famous was the one that Bobby Womack recorded later on, I think. I'm assuming that's the chronology. I can't really pretend that I actually know, so I'm just going to guess. So moving along now, we're going to do a little song from the Aquarius film soundtrack, which was made in 1979, right in time for the Flower Power revival of the disco era. And basically, it didn't do terribly well, possibly for that being one of the reasons that it was a little bit late, like 10 years. But it does have a very, very good soundtrack. It's got this particular track, which is sung absolutely beautifully by Ross Wen, who basically was in the film. And we've got the incomparable Vanessa Haynes, who is going to interpret it for you now. And this is the arrangement of Aquarius from that movie. Thank you. That was the most expensive instrument that I had to hire for this today. Yeah, she's been waiting for the entire bit of the gig to do that. So that was Aquarius. Give it up for the fabulous Vanessa Haynes there. And so our next little tune is a tune called Jesus Christ Superstar from the eponymous musical. And the history of this particular movie was it was made in the 1970s. I think they shot it almost entirely, or in fact they did shoot it entirely on location in the Middle East with the incomparable Norman Jewison, who's an amazing director. And it has an incredible cast. It's got an amazing band, which I think were on, as I understand it, the soundtrack was sort of the original thing of the whole musical, and then, I don't know, and then they did it in the theatre, and then they used a lot of the stuff from the original album, and they used that for the soundtrack. But the one single difference is that they had Carl Anderson playing the main role of Judas, and I think that was a very good decision because he's phenomenal. And as a kid, I was about 7 when I first saw this film, and he kind of made me think if I wanted to sing at all, that was sort of the direction I wanted to go in because he was so brilliant and his performance is incredible. So I thought after he'd done such a brilliant job, I thought I'd just murder it myself. So that's what we're going to do. Here we go. Okay, so moving along, we're going to get our next fantastic guest vocalist. The lovely Susan Alate is going to sing this next tune. And, or is it me? In fact, I think it's Superfly, isn't it? Sorry, I'm not getting Susan to sing this next song. I'm doing one first. So, it's all gone brilliantly, brilliant, just as we rehearsed it. So this little tune called Superfly, and it's off a movie called Superfly. And out of all the films that we are sort of covering in terms of the sort of the blaxploitation era, I think this is probably the best known. It's kind of it's a pretty good movie. It's full of the kind of excesses that you expect in the early 1970s, but the outstanding part of it is the soundtrack, which is the incomparable Curtis Mayfield, who wrote all the music and appears for a short while in the film as well. And this is really the track about the main character, but it's poetry, which I'm going to now desecrate. But yeah, check it out if anybody hasn't heard it. Pusher Man is also another amazing track. There's so many Freddie's Dead. It's just full of brilliant tracks, but I chose this one to do today. So that's what we're going to do because we've rehearsed it. So here we go.
Yeah, I said Superfly.
So our next little musical adventure is a tune that's not really, strictly speaking, from a Funksploitation soundtrack. It's from the movie Fame, which was directed by Alan Parker in 1980. And, but it does have a lot of, I think, quite funky music in it, notably not the main song. But this particular tune I liked a lot, even though it was in the most implausible setting ever, which is a canteen, where people for some reason brought all their instruments that they'd been practicing with. They decided they'd take them for a lunch outing for some reason. And yes, it's all terribly exciting, people banging on tables, and they have an abundance of tambourines and string sections, brass players, choirs, the kind of thing that you have when you go to lunch in the canteen at a drama school, obviously. But it does have this particularly good song. I think it was written by Giorgio Moroder, but I'm not going to say with certain because I'm not looking at my notes. But I'm going to let the fabulous Susan Alate take it over. And it has a ridiculously long intro just to build up the anticipation, as opposed to the way that most of the songs with me are featuring me getting it out as quickly as possible so that we can get it out, the pain over with. So here we go. This is Hot Lunch. There you go. So that was a little tune called Hot Lunch. Nice, frantic kind of meal that probably requires Alka-Seltzer afterwards, after all that jumping around. So we're going to move along now and go back to the 1970s again. And this particular track is, I think, probably the best thing about this movie. It's a movie called Big Time, which was made in 1977 for a tiny budget, $300,000. Even then, that was quite small. And it was funded by Motown Records. The music was done essentially by Smokey Robinson, and has you know, quite a lot of good tracks. But the trouble with the movie is that it's essentially a movie that's just there so that they can put Smokey Robinson songs in it. So the plot is fairly implausible. And the main character is played by a guy called Christopher Joy, who seemed to have taken his cues from Richard Pryor, but couldn't quite do what Richard Pryor does. So, yeah, I watched it before I was doing this just to actually check it out, and I thought, well, that's probably the last time I'm going to watch it, actually. But, you know, it's a jolly sort of little romp, and it does have a wonderful soundtrack by Smokey Robinson. This being, I think, the best track off it, and it's a tune called Big Time. I know it isn't, it's called Hip Trip, from a movie called Big Time. There you go. Word perfect.
Hey man, what's your trip? They say you got it on and on. Yeah, they say you got it on and on. You got a shiny black Cadillac, but the finance company better see that. I said, hey man, what's your trip? They say you got it on and on. Yeah, they say you got it on and on. Claim you got investments here and there. Oh, but all you really own are some of the clothes you wear. Hey man, what's your trip? They say you got it on and on. Yeah,
There you go. So that was a hip trip. And we're now going to veer off into completely sort of other territory. I really just wanted to fit this song in the set. So I decided, because it was in a movie, which was, oh yes, Sex in the City 2. That's why it instantly came to my mind, because I've never actually watched it. And I really have nothing to say about this movie because I've made a point of not watching it. But the song is beautiful, and even if it wasn't part of the sort of era we're talking about, it should be, because it's an anthem, and it's so good that I decided I was going to sneak it into this set. So that's what I chose to do. So it's normally sung by Alicia Keys, and it's normally in a female key, but because I'm singing it, I decided to drag it all the way down 2 tones. So hence not allowing anybody else to sing it. There you go. So we're going to do that one now.
Grew up in a town that is famous as a place of movie scenes. Noise is always loud, there are sirens all around, and the streets are mean. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere, that's what they say. See my face in lights, saw my name found down on walls on Broadway. Even if it ain't all it seems, I got a pocket full of dreams. Baby, I'm in New York. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can do when you're in New York. Big streets will make you feel brand new, but love will inspire you. Now you're in New York, New York. On the avenue, there were never a curfew. Ladies work so hard. Such a melting pot on the corner selling rock. Preachers pray to God. Hail a gypsy cab from Harlem down to the Brooklyn Bridge. Someone sleeps tonight with a hunger for more than an empty free. I'm in Miami, mean I got a pocket full of dreams. Baby, I'm in New York. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can do when you're from New York. Big streets will make you feel brand new, but life will inspire you. Now you're in New York, New York. One hand in the air for the big city. Street lights, big dreams, all looking pretty. No place in the world that can compare. Put your lighters in the air, everybody say yeah, 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 yeah. New York, concrete jungles where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can do when you're from New York. Big streets will make you feel brand new, but love will inspire you. Now you're in New York, New York, New York.
So the last little song in our set today is a tune taken from a Bond movie, It's kind of 1973, and the blaxploitation thing in cinema was a very big thing, and so they decided to put Bond in a blaxploitation movie. And apart from having one of the best Bond villains ever in Yaphet Kotto, who was really so charismatic and amazing, it had this incredible track, which I think is wonderful and amazing, but I'm still puzzled as to why they chose to get Paul McCartney to do a blaxploitation soundtrack when there were quite a few artists around at the time, like Quincy Jones and Isaac Hayes and so on, who probably were available. I'm sure they might have considered the thought. But anyway, as I understand it, originally they had the idea of Thelma Houston or Angie, what am I talking about? Aretha Franklin and those sorts of people. They were going to try and get them to sing it, and then Paul McCartney said, no, I'm going to sing it. So he did. But it's an amazing song, it's an amazing track, and despite the fact that it's an odd thing in that it doesn't quite fit the funk type thing that you see in a lot of blaxploitation movies at the time, it's so good that it doesn't actually feel uncomfortable in it. So there you go. Even with cod reggae, which somehow makes the track as well. I don't know, that's quite a rare thing as well. So we're going to have a little stab at that one now. Here we go.
When you were young and your court was an open book, you used to say, live and let live. You did, you know you did, you know you did. But in this ever-changing world in which we're living, makes you give up and cry. Oh, live and let die. Live and let die. Oh, live and let die. Live and let die. You got a job to do, you better do it well. Ah, you gotta give the other fella
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this particular little presentation. I'd like to please give it up for the phenomenal band I have tonight. I'm not going to mention them all because it'll take hours, but they've all been absolutely brilliant. And our guest vocalist, Vanessa Haynes, Susan Alate, And I hope you will find some more appreciation of these songs, even if you go back to the originals to listen to them, I don't know, and not have me singing them. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and good night.
Everybody